After hopping off the amazing €30 Calanque National Park boat tour, I headed straight to the ticket office of the ferries to the Frio archipelago, only to be told that all ferry tickets for non-residents had been completely sold out for that day. Okay, that means I gotta find something else to do in the afternoon then. Fortunately, there is still a long bucket list of things in Marseille that I hadn't ticked yet. Yeah, too long that I wasn't even able to see everything during my 2-night stay there. To figure out where to go and what to do, I first returned back to my hotel room. By the way, do you remember this? If I'm being eco-friendly and choose not to replace my towels, I'll receive a mysterious gift from the hotel. Hey look, there's something in the pocket. I chose to be environmental, and now this one is filled with something. A little gift. Let's find out what this is. It turns out to be a bar of soap. France, especially Provence, is famous for its soap. What a perfect gift. Merci beaucoup. What I didn't realize was that it's actually a very old building, and I assume this must be the original church, because after doing some reading, this church here can be dated all the way back to the 4th century, but this building here doesn't look like it's from the 4th century, and I was wondering why. And now I think I found out where the 4th century building is. It's actually right here. And of course that one, even though it's not as ancient as this one here, this one's still pretty impressive. I was on my way to visit Fort St. Nicholas, the defense structure right next to the old port of Marseille. However, it appeared to be closed for visiting. I followed the coastline and eventually reached a large public space next door, Parc du Pharo. This complex is home to a park, a university, and an 18th century palace commissioned by Napoleon III, which serves as a conference center today. The good thing about this place is that it's completely free to visit. And of course from here, it gives you probably the best view of Chateau d'If from the city center. Chateau d'If, where Edmond Dantes from the Count of Monte Cristo was imprisoned, is not the only great view you'll see at Parc du Pharo. This place also happened to be one of the best places to see the skyline of Marseille's old port area and the city center. And I didn't know that beforehand. Well, looks like I came to the right place by accident. Following the walkway along the coastline, I felt like I was transported from a bustling European city with loads of history into a relaxing beach resort town, like Puerto Vallarta or Mazatlan in Mexico. So folks, let me repeat again. Marseille is a week-long destination. Do not underestimate what you experience here. This side of Marseille was more intimate and had a rustic fishing village vibe. I had a relaxing time just by wandering around the area. The day was getting dark. I decided to get back to the old port to check out one final landmark for this Marseille adventure. To reach there, I took advantage of our Marseille transit pass and used this transportation instead of walking or busing. Hey, there's a ferry boat that goes across the old port, and it's covered by our transit pass. Yeah, there is a ferry that traverses between the two sides of Marseille's old port. Some people say it's a bit redundant, since it's not really that of a long walk. Anyways, it still exists today, and I didn't have to pay extra to take advantage of it. Come on, why not? It would certainly be another one of those interesting and unforgettable Marseille experiences. The ride, as expected, was short and sweet. If you do not plan to take a cruise tour or the ferry to the Frio archipelago, then I would say this old port ferry offers a very good experience to view Marseille's old port from a sailor's point of view. Alright, I made it to the other side of the old port. Wow, this city is full of surprises. There are a lot of amazing places where you can enjoy the amazing views of the oldest city here in France. Oh wow, and here comes another super old architecture as well. And turns out it's also a church. The final landmark I visited for a Marseille adventure is right next to this old church. Fort Saint-Jean is a 17th century fort facing Fort Saint-Nicolas from the other side of the old port. Fort Saint-Jean today is part of Museum, the Museum of European and Mediterranean Civilizations. It was already kinda late. I wasn't sure if I was able to visit this museum when Google suggested that the museum was closing in 10 minutes. But there were still people going into the fort. And whatever, I'll follow them and see what's gonna happen. It turned out that the museum and the fort had separate hours of operations. While the museum might be closing, there were still many people at the fort, enjoying the early evening of magic Marseille.
And I realized that the historic fort is actually free. Only the museum, which is that building over there, that you have to pay, I believe, 11 euros to get in. But anyways, this fort is what I'm mostly interested in. And it's actually the same with the Gallo-Roman Amphitheatre in Lyon. To visit the architecture itself is free, but there's a museum also right beside it, and you have to pay to get in. Ancient Pharo.
Fort Saint-Jean incorporated not only a mighty military defense structure, but also living quarters that included residences and even a chapel.
Yeah, this tunnel is not as tall as I thought. And it's okay now.
Just like the strategic location of Parc to Pharo, Fort Saint-Jean also offers a commanding view of Marseille's Old Port area. Except it is right here where you're looking at the skyline of Marseille, often featured on postcards. That evening, I was looking for a restaurant to try out the famous Marseille-style fish soup. Following some random suggestions on Google Maps, I was taken to a neighborhood that I had never been or heard before. Man, I was in a surprise, both for the food and the neighborhood. Let's first talk about food. The restaurant I found was a small family restaurant, certainly off the radar. Handwritten menus, diners being turned away after they got a full house. And I was well taken care of by the boss lady herself while her husband was preparing my food. That meal was hands down the best meal I had in France, in terms of both the quality and the taste. Just take a look yourself. As for the neighborhood, it was certainly the shadiest neighborhood I visited. But who cares? None of the diners in the area bothered. Plus, I already disregarded advices from some French people and found myself in a city I was supposed to avoid in the first place. If anything happens, that would be my own damn fault. Seriously, nothing happened. But what a memorable final meal it was to conclude my short yet sweet visit of Marseille. Our France adventure will continue as we bid farewell to Marseille and head to our next destination. What's gonna happen next? Follow me to the next episode.
Actually, the city is very nice. High five!